Hello, I'm Durr-e and Haque. I'm an Indonesian Pakistani non-binary lesbian.
I am Merryana Salem. I am an Arab, Aboriginal, bisexual, AAB. We are two writers. We love movies. We love TV series.
Especially when they're gay.
And welcome to GayV Club. Welcome back to GayV Club.
Analysing LGBT texts that we like, that we don't like.
And how we interact with these texts as gays of colour.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yay! Welcome to our second episode. Thank you to everyone who listened to the first one on Good Omens.
We are so excited. We've had so much wonderful feedback.
It's been really lovely. If you haven't already, please follow, subscribe, rate, leave a nice review for us on wherever you listen to podcasts.
Or, you can always tweet us at our tweets.
At GayV_Club. We're the same on Instagram as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can follow us for updates there. So today,
as promised.
Today we wanted to talk about our favourite LGBT directors.
Hope you did your homework of watching Appropriate Behaviour. If you didn't,
and by that we mean we're gonna be talking about Desiree Akhavan for maybe 30 minutes, and
then briefly mentioning all the other LGBT directors.
I actually think this should have been our first episode. I sort of kind of think that.
It probably should have, but
it probably should have been.
We got in all the nerds.
Yeah, we did.
Because we're making this for the gays who read books under the table. You know, that's who we're making this for. Watch movies instead of doing their homework.
I think doing the first episode on Good Omens was a way for us to really make ourselves actually get this done. We kind of just went feral on the Good Omens episode because that's what we were really passionate about at the time. But it's nice to have got that out of our system.
Yeah. Well, I'm still feral over Good Omens.
I mean, just in terms of actually getting this out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It is very nice.
Before we start, those of you who don't know, Mary has been selected for Australia's National Young Writers Festival for quite a few years in a row.
Yeah.
And she was just at it again.
Causing trouble.
First weekend of October.
Yes.
So how was that?
It was very exciting. It's really nice now. I'm not so nervous about it because I've done it for a couple of years now, and I have people there that I know, which is really nice. And I'm not as... I remember the first year I went, I was so scared and intimidated. I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I just did my events and would sort of scuttle away. But now I have people who I've seen for a couple of years that I'm good friends with, and it was really lovely. One of my favourite events that I went to was a debate on what genre vampires belong in.
Oh.
And it was all the debates at NYWF were very, very serious because, it's a young writers festival and we're all very, very serious, because, we're the most nihilistic generation. So you were very serious about genre. There were 3 teams, sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, which all of them I was like, vampires belong in all of these genres, really. But, of course, there has to be a winner. The horror team had the weakest argument, I felt.
How?
They had the weakest argument because they chose...
They have that, Dead in the Water, but...
I know, but they chose to argue that vampires specifically belong in teen horror, and they specifically used, Buffy and Twilight, as an example. I was like, why would you use... you could argue so much in terms of the history of vampires in horror literature and how they were, among the original horror stories. But, no, instead they went down this, Joss Whedon path, which was, I was not shocked they lost at all. Meanwhile, the fantasy team, I think their team didn't speak incredibly well. I think they had some good arguments, but, some people, even if you've got a good argument, don't speak, very well, which is okay. But they had a decent argument, which was that obviously vampires, how are they not fantasy, basically, because they're just so fantastical. And even if they are based in sort of horrors, what makes them scary is the fact that they're fantastical.
Yeah.
Which is, But the team that won was the sci-fi team. And they basically won. One of their winning arguments was something that would have improved Twilight inevitably would have been jetpacks. But mostly my friend Malika argued that that if you like vampires in horror, because she's black, and she was arguing if you like vampires in horror, you're racist because even in horror, black vampires die. And she cited Laurent, Twilight, he dies. She was like, where black vampires don't die? In sci-fi. Case in point, Blade. And you know what?
I like the first Blade movie.
She was
a lot.
right. She's right. Basically, their argument was that sci-fi has the most potential for vampires.
That's true.
Whereas, like, Blade
is the best Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I said it.
You know what? Marvel wouldn't have what they have without Blade. Blade was the original.
The opening scene of Blade, like the blood party, like that's the coolest thing ever. Definitely something that we may want to do an episode on.
Yeah,
later
probably vampires.
On gay vamps.
Gay vamps. But that was my favorite. That was one of my favorite events. I spoke in a couple events. I spoke at one panel about being mixed and how being mixed like affects your writing and how you incorporate it into your writing. I was on another event called My Problematic Fave, like the Sunday roast, and you had to pick something that's a problematic fave and roast it. So I roasted the St. Trinian's movies.
Did you want to mention where the podcast for the...
They are doing a podcast at the festival of certain events, and when they do, I'll let everyone know so you can go and listen. There's so many great like events that are just really interesting about networking and about all that stuff. And if you're a young writer in Australia, it's real. I can't stress enough. If you're a young writer in Australia, under 35, you should just go to NYWF at least once because there's just everyone's so nice. I plugged this podcast heaps while I was there, and if you're listening from NYWF, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. But yeah, it was so much fun, and I had a great time, and I got lots of people to come listen to this, which was the best part.
Yeah.
Next year we'll go together.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully, yeah.
So what have you been up to though? You've got some good news too.
What?
You've got good news too.
What?
Yeah, you do. You just got a new job.
Oh yeah, I got a new job.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated to any of this. I hate my uni, so I'm going to another uni next year because I got into a course that I wanted to get into, and yeah, things are really great.
They're really good for us. We're doing so well.
I know. I love that for us.
Hope nothing jinxes it. Hope we stay this way.
Yeah.
Also, Dee gave me a wonderful book for an early birthday present.
Yeah, it's Mary's. By the time this episode is uploaded, it will be Mary's birthday.
Yeah.
So yeah, go wish her happy birthday.
Well, yeah, I will have aged a whole year by the time this podcast comes out.
Quarter of a century.
Ooh, I don't know why. I really love that number. Shall we start talking about our faves?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Desiree Akhavan.
Do you know what's interesting? I had never heard of Desiree Akhavan, but because you posted all about Miseducation of Cameron Post, I went and watched Miseducation of Cameron Post. And even then I didn't know really. I was just like, oh, whoever directed this is sick. They're awesome.
I just love everything about Desiree Akhavan. She's an Iranian American bisexual director.
Mm-hmm.
Her most recent project is a TV series called The Bisexual.
Yeah.
Her first film, Appropriate Behavior, was about being a bisexual Iranian living in New York, which is just an excellent movie. And also her most recent film was The Miseducation of Cameron Post, which I think was the best film of 2018, honestly. But unfortunately it flopped, which is... I'm really sad about what happened to Miseducation of Cameron Post. It's based on the book of the same title by Emily Danforth, who is a lesbian. It was written for screen and directed by Desiree Akhavan. It's about a teenager in the 90s who gets put into a religious conversion therapy camp, and just the whole ordeal of that and how awful it is, and
but also the connections she makes.
Yeah, the connection she makes with meeting other LGBT youths around her, which is, I think it's a really important film. Just it's a very pragmatic film as well. It gets down to business and it says everything it needs to say. It's funny, it's heartbreaking, and it's so careful and so very clearly made, with so much love and effort poured into it for LGBT people to watch.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing I felt watching it, was that it really feels like it was made for LGBT people. There's so many films like that are not really made for LGBT people. Yeah. They're more just made about us, not for us.
Yeah, that's the annoying thing about Cam Post, is it wasn't even the most successful gay conversion therapy movie of the year, unfortunately. It freaking Boy Erased.
So me and Boy Erased, I didn't even see all of that movie. I was going to see Ophelia, and I got to the cinema early, and they just let me in, to the cinema, and I thought I was just going to sit there and look at a blank screen until Ophelia came on, but I caught the last 7 minutes of Boy Erased, I think. And I was disgusted, even by the 7 minutes I saw at the end of Russell Crowe. The way the movie was framing him, like, oh, you know, Dad, it's okay if you hate me because I'm gay, you know,
Yeah,
like, I'll still love you.
The sad thing about Boy Erased is it is, like, it's a bit tricky to talk about in that it's based on a real person's memoirs, but they've kind of fictionalized it, like they've changed his name in the movie, etc. And, you know, Joel Edgerton, who wrote, directed, and starred in it, he basically, while promoting the movie, did come out and say that he didn't actually, he made it specifically for parents of gay people, gay kids, and not for gay people themselves, and you can really see that. Miseducation of Cameron Post was interesting in that it's like one of the ones where it's not really about her experience, it's about, you know, the general experience, I think. Like Appropriate Behavior and Bisexual, something I love about both of those, like that series and that film, is that she kind of walks you through like how shitty it is to date a white person.
I know. That was one thing, because I only watched Appropriate Behavior recently. Desiree plays this character who has broken up with their girlfriend, like her girlfriend, of a significant amount of time.
Inappropriate Behavior is not, it's like maybe a year into their relationship, but like it's a white lady who is,
and the strain
10
on
years older than her.
And the strain on the relationship, supposedly, or the strain that the white woman feels, is that Desiree is ashamed of their relationship because she can't tell her parents, who are Iranian, that they're together. Presumably, well, not presumably, literally because she's aware that her parents wouldn't accept that she's gay. And what struck me is, like, instead of just respecting that, which, you know, would be quite easy to do, this white woman gets really angry at Desiree for not telling, and gets really resentful of Desiree for not telling her parents, and doesn't really have any respect for the fact that that it's very different in particularly in for people of color from like non-Western like backgrounds. Like
that part where she's just like, I know, they know, I know. Like, that's really, like, that's so relatable to me in my situation right now. Like, I know, they know, I know, but I'm not going to say anything because I know it'll be over. Unfortunately. She also does kind of touch on this in The Slope, which is a web series that she did before all this. And she does also talk about it again in the bisexual.
Yeah, it's not as much the focus though in the bisexual.
No,
I think
not.
There's that one episode where you hear her talking to her parents and you know that she's not really telling them what she's doing, and you sort of know why.
Yeah, her character in the bisexual has basically cut off her family from coming out. And there's another character who is her friend who is Iranian who has not come out to her parents about being a lesbian, and there's kind of like, it shows the difference between that and how you still really want to latch on to your parents and how you still really want to latch on to your family, and how hard it is to really live how you want to.
And there is that really horrible scene where Desiree's character says to her, like, oh, you know, you can't live like this, like, you should want more. And she realizes she said, like, a really dick thing, because she understands as well why she can't. But, yeah, I think that's one thing I really love about Desiree's films that are, like, unique, and is how...
She explores the nuances of...
Yeah.
She explores, like, all the...
embedded it is for her, because I think for her, like, she can't separate her queer experience from her experiences as an Iranian woman. They're like the same thing for her. So she can't talk about one without the other, which I think is, and I'm glad that she doesn't shy away from talking about that, because not a lot of, I don't know, I hadn't seen a lot of direct like movies that did deal with that specifically. And even Appropriate Behavior, like, I mean, it did have a lot of critical acclaim, but where can you know, it's not...
Where can you
watch? Can you watch it now, you know? It's the same with the bisexual. It has a lot of critical acclaim, but...
Does the bisexual have a lot of critical acclaim?
Yeah, when I was doing
I remember reading, like, a review that I kind of hated. It was a mostly positive review. It was kind of like a whatever review. That one line that really stood out for me was that the reviewer said that the characters don't always say the right thing. Which
yes,
I think is it really annoys me about LGBT TV these days, how there's actually kind of this sort of standard, this kind of how clinical it's become in representing. Even just, there are a bunch of, like, I guess this is something that we do want to talk about later in a full episode, just about why a lot of gay TV sucks, because it's so not made for us. It's really educational in like the worst way. Also, another filmmaker that we like that I like is Gregg Araki. He made Now Apocalypse, which is a series that came out this year that unfortunately got cancelled. But yeah, it's just about...
That's what, like, with you saying, don't always say the right things. Like, LGBT people aren't...
Yeah.
Like,
the fact that we're put on this freaking pedestal.
Yeah. We're not automatically good people. The fact that there's so much discourse
with every single thing that we say, that, like, it has to be, like, focus grouped and thought out. And yeah, I really sort of don't like that there's that pressure. Basically, Now Apocalypse, the premise for that is it's made by Gregg Araki, who, as you guys know, was like an iconic filmmaker during the new queer cinema movement. He made Nowhere, The Doom Generation, Mysterious Skin. Yeah, movies like that.
I haven't seen his movies. I've only seen Now Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Now Apocalypse is just like a really fun, really colourful, really campy, just super gay show
about the end of the world.
Yeah, like about these young kids who are kind of living in like...
in the wasteland of Los Angeles. But it's like Los Angeles now, but a very campy, wastelandish Los Angeles.
Very vapid and about how they live. And like, I guess like the same criticism could be said of Now Apocalypse, that the characters don't always say the right things, but that's because...
But that's because they're people.
Parody.
And also that's also because they're people, and people don't always say the right thing.
Yeah, and I think we should have gay media that's just weird and opinionated. Like, we should be allowed to have that.
Like, but my favorite scene, as you know, in Now Apocalypse is, so the main character, Yuli, like Ulysses, Yuli for short, is played by Adan Joja. Is that how you say it? Jogia?
I don't know.
He made an Instagram post about people how, like, mispronounce his name. And
I'm sorry, Adan.
I'm sorry if we mispronounce your name, Adan. But played by Adan, who's the most handsome man. He's so pretty.
I have a gender crisis every time I see him. I just want to look like that.
His ear.
Yeah.
You could rock that.
Continue. Sorry.
No, that's okay. But my favorite scene in Now Apocalypse is after... So Yuli identifies as gay, and like his first opening monologue of the show is about how he is very gay, but he's not, quote unquote, so high up on the Kinsey scale that he doesn't occasionally have fantasies about his roommate, his best friend's girlfriend, and he talks about like that. Like, and I like that. That's not like really...
I like the fluidity and just like that we get to be casual about this, and that it's not set in stone and stuff. Like, obviously not everyone is like that, but also like I love that it was okay to just say that, this does happen, and it wasn't made like a big deal out of it,
And my favorite scene in Now Apocalypse is after you see him hook up with this girl at a party.
Oh yeah.
And it's quite funny. Like she's quite, I don't know, she's quite a funny character. I thought
she's hilarious.
She's really funny. And after they hook up, he just goes back to the party and he's talking to his other best friend, who's this white woman who I don't particularly like her character. She's not very nice. But he's saying to her, she's sort of not surprised. She's just going like, oh my God, you slept with a girl, that kind of thing. And he's explaining to her. He explains it in this really like funny way where he's like, I can't even call myself bi because it's like, there's a menu, there's a menu of the way men can have sex. And he like lists all these ways that men can have sex. And then he's like, but occasionally I just want to order off the menu. And he's like, I can't even call myself bi because it's just like occasionally I just want to do something else. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know, I really liked that. I thought it was a very like cute, like not cute, but like I liked that he could like say that,
Yeah, like if any other, like for instance, like you couldn't really do that in a straight show because then everyone would be like, oh, so is she bi now? Is she gay now? Is she straight now? Is she being cured now? But like no. In this case, it's kind of like you get to acknowledge it as what it is, which is a blip, which can sometimes happen for people, which I think is great. Yeah. Also, just the show in general is quite gay anyway. There's like a freaking beautiful... the main ship that I love in that show is between Ulysses Evangelista and also Isaac, who was played by Jacob Artist. And they're so cute.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, man. The
I hate-
costuming in that show, the lighting in that show, like
the
it's,
colours. It's
Yeah,
so
the
colourful.
colours.
The cinematography.
yeah.
Thank
Watch
you.
Now Apocalypse.
Thank you, Gregg Araki. If
It
you're in
got-
Australia, you can watch it on Stan.
Yeah, I think it's a Stars series, so I don't know where people watch Stars things, but elsewhere, I mean, but
Yeah. I'm sure you can stream it somewhere, but
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoy Now Apocalypse.
If you liked, for instance, Nowhere, it's a little bit of a continuation on those concepts in that, because it's got like the aliens from that, and
I really like as well. It's not necessarily like a necessarily queer thing, but my other favorite thing in Now Apocalypse is the best friendship between Ulysses and his roommate
Ford.
Oh, they are like,
Ford is such a good boy.
I just love that. Like, Ford is like the token straight character, really, of the show, and he is like 100% straight, and I love that that's his thing. Like, he's so straight, like he often completely misses like when people think that he and Yuli are like boyfriends. Like, that completely goes over his head, but he also just loves Yuli, and like there's that lovely scene after they've had that argument where he wakes Yuli up and he's like, "This has been the worst night of my life. Fighting with you, I don't want to fight with you." And he gives him like pancakes.
So pure.
I just think it's really wholesome because
Just think he's neat.
I just think he's neat because, you know, he's not one of those straight guys that's like, "Oh, I have a gay best friend, and I better not like get, I better not get close to him in case he gets the wrong idea." Like no, he just loves Yuli, like that's his best friend, and that, I don't know, that's very sweet to me. Like I just think he's neat.
Yeah. So yeah, watch Now Apocalypse. It's a really big shame that Now Apocalypse was cancelled because like we absolutely should be given the right to, just go stupid, go crazy.
We should be given the right to go feral stupid.
Yeah.
Like, as gays, which is what Now Apocalypse was. Although it was really kinky as well.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't always a fan of. I thought, warning, it is like very kinky in some parts, and I'm like, why am I seeing this?
It's very NSFW, and so maybe don't watch with your mom. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, who we got next?
Speaking of feral, we can talk about Xavier Dolan.
Yeah.
There was this one night where Mary wasn't feeling too great, and she mentioned that she wished she never found out about Xavier Dolan, who is basically this French-Canadian, half-Egyptian filmmaker who's gay. Released his first film when he was 19 at Cannes, and basically he's been very critically acclaimed for, like, he's 30 now, and he's just made an insane amount of films. And Mary told me that she wished she never found out about Xavier Dolan because, like, it kind of makes you feel like you haven't really accomplished anything at your big age. And, but to be fair, like, I think Mary hasn't seen all of Xavier Dolan's movies. I'm working on it. But I know for a fact that she's going to rate at least half of them 3 stars on Letterboxd. And also, like, his first film that he released when he was 19, that he started writing when he was 16.
It's feral.
I Killed My Mother. Like, it wasn't, like, super amazing. He didn't, like, start out the accomplished filmmaker that he is today, but he just went feral on the I Killed My Mother script, which I absolutely love.
It's a great script.
It is great.
I really enjoyed the script.
He just said all that.
Yeah.
He just said all that.
Yeah. And you told me, like, don't worry, like, just go feral with your films. Don't worry if they're good. Like, now we say, like, why must a film be good?
Yeah. Is it not enough to just...
to just go feral on a screen? And honestly, with Xavier Dolan, it is.
I think I really love Xavier Dolan's movies. Like, I'm probably so far up his ass. Like, I even liked John F. Donovan, guys. I'm sorry.
I know,
it was
I'm
good.
Going to like it.
It was good. No, I think you're gonna hate it.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean,
you've instructed me not to watch that until I've watched his others.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen it yet.
But I think this is a bit weird to say about a guy who's like 8 years older than me. But I feel like what I like so much about Xavier Dolan, because I've been following his career for quite a while, is I have like a sense of pride whenever I see his films, in that, like, because he gets better every time. Like, you can see him learning, like, as you watch his films chronologically, from I Killed My Mother to Heartbeats, which won Sydney Film Festival.
It did.
Yeah, which is just... And then Lawrence Anyways. And also, the masterpiece that is Mommy is just, honestly, like, cinema peaked in Mommy.
I've like started Mummy. But
What? You start. Oh my god!
I started. I'm sorry. Yeah, because I only started the first 10 minutes, so I didn't feel like it was worth telling you yet. From the first few minutes I've seen of Mummy, like I really like the I don't know if it
like just the accomplishment of just being like an excellent filmmaker with just wonderful taste in aesthetic, in music. He does the costume designing.
That's what I
want
of
his films. He does the editing for a lot of his films. Yeah, it's great.
I want to expand on a point that you said in one of your Letterboxd reviews. You said that like Xavier Dolan has this beautiful eye. He has
such an eye for visuals.
Eye for visuals, but this it very much extends to people in the way that a lot of directors can't. Like a lot of directors can film beautiful cinematography. They can photograph things.
They can film great scenery, whatever. Scenery, but I think he always figures out, obviously, it's great that he works with Andre Turpin a lot, who is a great director of photography. But basically he finds the very specific, very exact lighting and angle and shot angle and proximity to make any actor's face look beautiful, which I love so much about his films. That's why I really loved John F. Donovan, because I freaking love Tandy Newton. I love Amara Karan. They're both really beautiful, and it was so great to see them shot in such a beautiful way by a filmmaker that I love, that really highlights everything I love about them, their talent and also just their faces, because they're beautiful. Even I'm a lesbian and I've never seen the appeal of Kit Harington at all, but watching John F. Donovan, I really felt like I could see what Xavier must see in him, because
what people find attractive about him.
No, what Xavier finds attractive.
Oh, what
about
Xavier?
Him.
Okay, not at people.
Because Xavier sees that. Yeah, I think, which is really
the gay
lovely.
Gaze is just so powerful.
Yeah,
and I think he really makes that powerful. Mm-hmm. And even though, as you know, I'm not massively a fan of the films I've watched so far. I don't love them, but what I do love is how beautiful they are. Yeah. That's what I keep watching for, because
they're just beautiful.
They are just beautiful to look at, and not just the story, but just the way everything is done is in such a beautiful, very meticulous way. And actually, to prepare for this part of the podcast, I did go on a deep dive on YouTube, and I watched a lot of interviews with Xavier where he was talking about what he does on his films. And there was one particular interview that I was watching where this woman who was interviewing him asked him about, people have accused, not accused you, but people have, called you a control freak. What do you say to that? And he said, absolutely, I'm a control freak, but that's also my job. As a director, my job is to creatively combine all these different elements to make something, to do the story that I've written justice. And it would be disingenuous of me not to be a control freak and to not, give what I have created justice.
Yeah.
And, and he talked about how he's really blessed to work with people who don't see him, as a control freak, but see him as someone to look to make things beautiful and to make things a certain way. And I don't know, I really like the way he said that, because I think she was trying to sort of neg him in a way, people say you're a control freak, but he was he was
yeah, and
what
about it?
Yeah, and what about it? Which I like that he said that, because he. And then I saw another interview where someone called him a narcissist because he is in a lot of his own movies and stuff, and he's like, but yeah, I'm an indie filmmaker, I have to make use of the resources that I have, and I am a resource that I have.
He's a very cute guy.
And he's also a very pretty man. Why isn't he allowed to put himself on camera? Yeah. That one shot of him in Lawrence anyways, beautiful. Loved it. Yeah. Loved it. I did want to say one thing, though, because we did mention this with Desiree, and we'll probably talk about it with others, is that I really like the way that queerness is just an integral part of all his movies. Yeah. And it's not always the focus, but it is always there. At least in I Killed My Mother especially. Yeah. It is, the main thing is about the relationship with the mother, but it's also about
how he's gay.
And
he's got a huge poster of River Phoenix up on the wall, and just the whole aesthetic is just everything. He always sets his movies either in the 80s, 90s, or early 2000s, because he's just great at I feel like a lot of indie films, American indie films in the last few years, have kind of relied on nostalgia from those periods, in order to simulate depth. But I think he really actually does it properly.
But it's because he lived it.
Yeah.
Or at least he lived the 2000s and the 90s.
Also, like, he's, like, meticulous, and he's not afraid to go tacky with it either, which I love.
Because
like,
guess what?
it's-
The naughties were tacky.
Yeah.
They were a tacky as crap time, and I can say that because I
Yeah.
was there. Like, it was really tacky, you know?
But and he's like, yeah, let's celebrate that. After Mommy, which was a huge success, he also won the Grand Prix at Cannes for his film It's Only the Underworld. A lot of people hate that movie, but I kind of love it in that it shows that straight people really are the worst. Basically, the premise of the movie is about a gay writer who's estranged from his family. He comes back home. In the time that he's been away, he's written a book, basically like a memoir about his life and how awful his family was. And he's come back home to tell them something really important. But his family is just really shitty to him while he's back there.
Oh.
And basically the whole movie is them just reacting to the book, like all their pent up rage, and they don't actually let him speak. And so I really love that. I really think another thing that we sort of want to do a deep dive into later on in the course of this podcast is kind of like the representation of whether we should be sad or like how we should be representing homophobia and how we should be representing gay sadness that is like specific to us. And I think because gay media has become like slightly more mainstream in the past few years, I feel like, and in the way that it's not always made for us, I feel like one of the best ways to tell that it is for us is that there is that acknowledgement that life is still quite difficult for us. Obviously, we're speaking in a very we're coming from
a relatively privileged
place. Yeah, we're in Australia, and it's a lot better for us here than in the West than in other countries, unfortunately. But I think it's good that it actually shows that these things still go on and these things still happen to us. And I feel like that's the only way to really tell if a piece is genuine, if it doesn't try to, erase our oppression, which I think is the main thing that we wanted to get at in this episode with these LGBT filmmakers that we like, is that it's really important that we be able to tell our own stories that way, like we don't have that
and also
erased.
to be able to speak to nuances that may not exist that may exist for some but not others. Like the way that Desiree will write about her experience as a like first generation American from Iranian parents. Like that's a very unique experience to her, but is also an experience that many like first generation like children of immigrants like might have. And we're also going to talk about Cheryl Dunye, who she writes about the intersections of being black and queer, which again is a different experience.
Black
again,
and lesbian,
sorry, black and a lesbian, I should say, which again is different. And I really like that about, because that's something that really only directors who are actually LGBT can do.
Yeah.
When you get like straight people, they'll just go like, well, I'm just going to cherry pick parts of the queer experience that I'm aware of and make a movie about it. Or
they're just like, I'm going to have this character who, ticks all the diversity boxes, that they're, a person of color. They're also, mildly queer in an ambiguous way. Yeah, that kind of thing. Like, it's just not genuine when they do that. So it's so much nicer when it's our own people that do that. Like another filmmaker is Durr-e, who made Pariah. She's excellent. She's just a friggin' like master filmmaker. Like she's so good. She has the range
so
to do everything.
Well.
Pariah is a great coming of age story about a black lesbian, a black butch lesbian as well, which is amazing on its own. But she's also made Mudbound.
And Mudbound, I think, is beautiful in the way that like the gay gaze is like Mudbound is so beautiful.
Yeah,
like
it
to
really
look
is.
at. I don't know. I feel like a lot of like gay directors have that ability to make really visually beautiful things.
Yeah.
Because
we have taste.
And also like we're not straight men who objectify everything as well.
Yeah.
But Mudbound is, well, it's not a queer movie, like a movie about queerness. It is a very beautiful film. Yeah. But I would also like to mention on a side note while we're talking about Durr-e, because Durr-e works a lot with Rachel Morrison, who's a cinematographer. She is a lesbian as well. She did the cinematography for Mudbound. And also she did the cinematography for Black Panther, which Durr-e isn't involved in, but, you know, Black Panther, the reason it looks like that, because there was a lesbian cinematographer in that movie.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, lesbian.
Durr-e also made Bessie.
Yes.
Which is a lovely movie.
With my mother. Queen Latifah.
Yeah. She also directed this one episode of Electric Dreams, which is called Kill All Others. Electric Dreams is like a sci-fi series that's based on a bunch of Philip K. Dick short stories. And her episode, Kill All Others, is like freaking amazing. Like, she has the range to do everything. Like, she can do sci-fi. Apparently she's coming out with like a musical. It's supposed to be an LGBT musical, which sounds amazing. I've heard, like, apparently she's had like the script for like a horror movie about 2 black lesbians as well. But that's been in the works for like ages, and we're like kind of like, where is it? So
Reese, if you hear this, we would like to see it.
Yeah.
We would like to see the lesbian horror movie, please.
Yeah.
And one thing I do love as well is that everyone completely unprompted who's ever worked with Dee Reese will just talk about how wonderful she is.
Yeah.
Which I think is really awesome as well. Just speaks to like what a cool person she generally is anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But also the Academy did her so dirty. Like, I will never forgive what they just ignored Mudbound.
Remember that thing that Carey Mulligan said was like, if Dee Reese was a straight white man, she would be directing the next Star Wars?
Yep.
Yeah.
Carey was right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Who else is there? Oh, okay, so there's Janet Mock and Our Lady J. They work on Pose.
Oh, yes.
We love Pose.
We love Pose.
We
miss Pose. I'm in Pose withdrawal right now, actually.
It's a series. It's made by Ryan Murphy.
Who is also
I appreciate him in that he's very prolific in like he's made so many series that focus on many LGBT characters, which is great, but also there are some things I can't really forgive him for instance,
just
Glee.
say Glee.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really great that Janet Mock and Our Lady J's work, and there's also quite a few other LGBT just directors and consultants working on that show. Even Jenny Livingston, who made Paris is Burning, is a consultant on that show, which is great.
But also we've mentioned Cheryl Dunye. I recently watched The Watermelon Woman.
Yep.
I watched it for a course at uni, and I can't believe I'd never seen it before, because now I'm just obsessed with it. No one really knows, but mockumentaries and documentaries, like, I love them. Particularly mockumentaries, like, I love them. Like, 7 Days in Hell is my favourite film of all time. It is so funny. I love when people use, like, the documentary format in a really interesting way. I really love, like, I was watching The Watermelon Woman and I genuinely thought this was real. I was like, oh, wow, this is so interesting. Like, but what I think is really powerful in that movie, she's not only talking about being a black lesbian and, like, black queerness in general, she's also talking about film representation.
Yeah.
It's really, what it's really about is the representation of, like, of queerness, but it's more specifically, like, black queerness, and how, like, the message of that film really is that, you know, if you can't see yourself, you have to create yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what she essentially tried to do with The Watermelon Woman, which is also quite funny, but which is also just genuinely, it's very funny. It's a great movie, but I really felt there was like some Get Out vibes with that white girl that she dates, because there's that scene where
with Guinevere Turner.
There's that scene where she's like, oh yeah, all the guys I've dated have been black. I was like, oh my god. I was like, Cheryl, get out of there, girl.
Okay.
And then, of course, you never see her again after that scene. You never see the white girlfriend again after that scene. So
honestly, as you should.
Yeah. But
I really someone that would say something like that to you. But yeah.
And she also has all those other weird, awkward scenes where she's talking about how, like, oh yeah, I work with lots of black people. I'm like, Cheryl, why are you dating this girl? Like, why? But also, I just love that. I just love that movie. I love the way it's filmed. I love how funny she is. I love that all her friends as well in that movie are queer. Yeah. Like, there's really, like, no straight people in the whole movie.
Yeah. Even the white girl that you just mentioned, Guinevere Turner, she's actually a great screenwriter.
Oh, yes, she wrote American Psycho.
Yes. So often, you know how it's often used as kind of like a zinger against film bros that, a woman directed American Psycho. So, because, you know, it's a great film. Well, you know, I feel like we should also mention that it was written by a lesbian, like written for screen by a lesbian, which is great. She also worked on Go Fish, which was directed by Rose Trosh, which is another, like, iconic film that's actually referenced in The Watermelon Woman as kind of like part of new queer cinema movement as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, like, I'm now obsessed with that whole era of films, and I'm going to, like, go and look at, because I'm just so obsessed with The Watermelon Woman now. I just think it's, like, the best thing in the world. Yeah,
because Cheryl Dunye, she's so, like, prolific, I think. Like, she worked, there's a great documentary just about the new queer cinema movement in specifically about lesbians and bi women filmmakers, called Dyke's Camera Action.
Oh, I want to see that so badly.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous you got to see it.
Yeah.
Who else have we got on our list? We have like a lot of...
Yeah, we got a whiteboard which we wrote names on. So let's just go down, because I feel like we've talked for like quite a while actually now.
We have...
Yeah.
I want to briefly talk about Nanashka Khan, who directed Always Be My Maybe, which came out this year, which is not necessarily a gay movie, but I think it's a testament.
It's really representative of how lesbians see Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
And that it was just excellent. Obviously, Keanu Reeves is a lesbian icon, and just the way that she used him in that movie was amazing. She also made Don't Trust the Bee, so...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that TV series.
She's also Iranian, I believe. Yes. So we love
her mind.
We love her mind.
Yeah.
Her mind. Oh, like I know we're mostly trying to stick with people of color, but we have to talk about Kenny Ortega, who made the cinematic masterpiece trilogy, High School Musical.
Hell yeah.
1, 2, and 3, which while not, I mean, a lot of people say that High School Musical isn't gay, but how is it not? Like,
I think there's a decent amount of subtext.
There's so much subtext, you know. The B
works.
The B in LGBT stands for Troy Bolton. Like,
shut up.
Like, do you really think his real struggle is that he just wants to sing? Like, is that really what we're going with? Anyway.
Okay.
But also, like, I love, have you seen that post on Tumblr that's like, Sharpay Evans is a lesbian? And someone was like, how is Sharpay Evans
I think so, yeah.
a lesbian? And, like, they outlined, like, you know, she's got the most basic crush on the most basic guy in school that she doesn't even care about most of the time. She's, like, high femme. She's, like, all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? And she's also just obsessed with Gabriella.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
She thinks she hates Gabriella.
Yeah.
But we all know the truth.
Yeah.
Just on a side note to that, if you want to go and watch a YouTube video, go and watch Ashley Tisdale and Vanessa Hudgens sing X's and O's on Ashley Tisdale's YouTube channel. It's the ending we deserved, really, for High School Musical. Yeah. It's wonderful.
Okay, who's next down the list?
Let's talk about there's so many iconic Iranian gay filmmakers.
I love that for you guys.
I know. I'm not Iranian, but I appreciate the Middle Eastern, Arab gay filmmakers. I want to talk about
Zalbat Manglish.
Zal made the OA, which is like a cult hit on the Netflix. And I've seen most of what he's made with Britt Marling, which is most of what he's made, because like they're like a creative team.
Cool.
It's not necessarily queer. It's just strange.
Yeah.
And you know how we were talking about how, like, you know, gay people should just be able to make really weird shit?
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Hell yeah.
He's just making the weirdest shit imaginable. In the second series of OA, there's an interdimensional traveling octopus that knows all the secrets of the universe, and I just love that. He put that in there, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of hold on, were you done?
No, I'm done, yeah.
Okay.
Zal, I love you, and I'm very sad that the OA got cancelled. I'm still grieving, by the way.
Yeah. Rest in pieces. Speaking of gay filmmakers that should have the right to just make weird shit, I also want to mention Thai director Apichatpong Weerasethical, also known as Joe Weerasethical. He's like a freaking amazing gay Thai filmmaker. He's made Tropical Malady, Cemetery of Splendor, Uncle Boonmi Who Can Recall His Past Lives. He's just like an excellent filmmaker, and it's all just like really weird gay shit, which I love.
Oh, awesome.
Not always gay, but you know, it's always just says all that. And like also his films are very spiritual as well, which is lovely. Also there's Anusha Bunyawatana, who's also a Thai director. She made The Blue Hour most recently, and also Malila, The Farewell Flower. She makes like really great gay movies just about grief. Let's just go down the list as it is.
Okay, where are we up to?
I wrote Shamim Sarif. Oh my god, I owe Shamim Sarif my life actually.
Really?
Yeah, she's an Indian Muslim lesbian director. She made a great film which I love, which people say it's shit, but I don't think it is. Like I think it really speaks to me in a way no other film has, which is called I Can't Think Straight. It's just kind of like a comedy about an Indian Muslim lesbian and her Palestinian who becomes her girlfriend, who is supposed to be her real life wife. It's based on their lives basically. And like I really love that it talks not just about like in relation to them like being brown and living in the West, and you know, like their relationship with gender, sexuality, politics, and like I feel like it's so specific to the experiences of brown lesbians and bi women, which is great.
I have not seen it, but now I really want to.
Yeah, you should. We can watch it. We can watch it tonight.
Okay.
It's really fun. But unfortunately, I think the only unfortunate thing about that movie is the dubbing is unfortunately quite bad. But it's a great movie. Otherwise, like I think it's really funny and just really relatable.
Cool.
If you're a brown lesbian or bi woman. So yeah, I definitely recommend it.
Alice Wu!
Alice Wu! Okay, she's next on our list. She made Saving Face. Which is just an excellent movie. She's also, it's unfortunately like it's crazy that she's an Asian lesbian and
out
she made
from
Saving
how cute
Face,
it
which
was
is like
when I
the
was watching.
seminal for Asian lesbians to watch, really. It's a cute rom-com. It's been nearly 15 years and only now do we hear that she's actually getting another movie that's coming out.
I got so
another
mad when Crazy
movie
Rich
about
Asians
an Asian lesbian
came out and
coming
people were
on
like,
Netflix.
there are no
Hopefully
Asian
next year.
rom-coms.
I don't really know about it, but like it's so crazy. Saving Face is right there.
First of all, how dare you? Second of all, Saving Face is right there.
Yeah. Next on the list.
Oh, speaking of other, like, iconic Gaysians. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, not being technically Asian, but, like, you know.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
whatever.
know. I say Gaysian all the time.
I pick it up from you, so
yeah,
I'll blame you, if anything,
okay.
if I get any shit for it. But another iconic gay brown woman is Madeline Sammy. She is Indian Irish, I believe. I know she said that in multiple things she's been in, so I'm assuming that's true. And
New Zealand?
She's from New Zealand. Her most recent film is a film she directed with her BFF, Jackie Van Beek, who both of them were in What We Do in the Shadows. If you like What We Do in the Shadows, they're both in it.
Yeah, they're in a lot of Taika films, actually.
Because they're all besties. They're all, like, you know...
New Zealand's a small place.
Yeah, and Madeline Sammy, her most recent film, The Breaker Uppers, is really lovely and funny. It's
just good that it's two women.
It's just good that it's two women who are best friends.
Yeah.
Also, like, Madeline Sammy's character in it is bi and talks about being bi, like, very openly throughout the movie. It does focus on their relationship, more to their relationship, like friendship, with each other than anything else, which is fine. But yeah, it's really lovely. In real life, Madeline Sammy, I only found this out today, is married to Australian pop music icon Lady Haque, who you don't remember the song.
I'm sorry.
If anyone who's Australian in the audience remembers that song, stop, you're playing with my delirium. It's a good song.
Okay.
Anyway, but they also have a baby.
Yeah.
That was born on my birthday, but not on my birthday, like literally, but like we have the same date birthday, which is like, wow. Iconic Libra Scorpio babies. No, I love Madeline Sammy. She's also briefly in What We Do in the Shadows. She plays one of the vampires on the street.
She looks so good there.
Yeah, she just is great. Would love her. Who is next?
Andrew Thomas Huang. Oh my god, this guy, he can do anything. He's mostly a visual artist. He's done like a lot of really cool VFX stuff. He directed FKA Twigs's
The Cellophane video?
Yeah, he directed the Cellophane video. He did all that. He also he does like art installations as well. He did like for Vivid Sydney, like he did some of the lighting for the Opera House as well, and like some of the exhibits there. But he also makes some really great short films. His most recent one is called Curse of the Rabbit God, which is amazing. You can find that on YouTube, like on the Nowness channel. Like it's just a really great art film about a gay Chinese boy. And it's just excellent, so you should definitely check out his stuff because it's so like visually just visceral and appealing, and just he knows what he's doing. Like if you've seen the Cellophane video, like
it is very beautiful, that video. That song is so sad. Makes me very sad to listen to it. I don't know.
Then there's other filmmakers like Chantal Ackerman, Lucretia Martel, who we quite like, and then hold on. We got the Wachowskis.
The Wachowskis, who are just
Lana and Lily Wachowski.
Lana and Lily.
They make really great action films, I think.
And they have really cool ideas. They're not always executed, I think, with well, but like I think the concepts.
Like, we love The Matrix. We love the aesthetic of that.
I love the first season of Sense8. I don't like the second. But
the thing is,
I like the concepts of Sense8, the execution.
Also, they made Bound, which I think is the best English language lesbian film about like a heist, and it's freaking amazing. They know definitely what they're doing in terms of like making action movies, but like unfortunately they're a bit racist. So, well, not a bit racist, quite a bit racist.
Quite a bit racist.
Quite a bit racist.
I
So
hate that
I wish they
scene.
would do better.
I wish they would do better. I hate that scene in Sense8 where they literally, you know the scene I'm talking about, where they all see the word on the wall that they hate. And they really compare being called a pig, like a cop being called a pig. Like they put it on the same, they imply that that is on the same tier as someone being called like a homophobic slur or a racial slur.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to repeat. So, yeah, we're not a fan of that aspect of their work, basically.
No.
Do better.
Do better.
I really want to. Drew Barrymore.
Oh yeah, she's next on the list.
Queen of wholesomeness.
Yeah.
Queen of Ray of Sunshine.
Yeah.
Like Ray of Sunshine, Drew Barrymore, who
She's
also
bisexual.
She is bisexual, by the way.
She made Whip It, which
genius. She cast Alia
Shawkat and she cast Ellen Page. Like, I think that's an honorary.
She knew
WLW film.
Also, like, if you ever want to, you want some serotonin, like, just go YouTube Alia and Ellen Page interviews from that era. They are just so wholesome and warm and lovely. But yeah, Drew Barrymore, Whip It is definitely an honorary gay film, I think, just because it's got Ellen Page in it, and also, like, Drew Barrymore is directing, and Alia is also there. So, or for anyone who doesn't know Alia Shawkat, she's bisexual and she's Iraqi American. For anyone who doesn't know, I don't know how you wouldn't know who Alia is, but like I find it a personal offense when people don't know who Alia is. But
I mean, you're not following Tessa Thompson on Instagram.
But anyway, next up, I want to briefly mention Sydney Freeland, who I only recently discovered is a Native American director. She's trans. It's funny I haven't watched her most recent film, which is Deborah and Laney Rob a Train, which is on
Deirdre and Laney.
Sorry, Deirdre.
Yeah. Deirdre?
Oh, I thought it was Deborah. I don't know why. I misread it. Deirdre and Laney Rob a Train. That's her most recent film. Yep. I haven't actually seen that one. The one I have seen is her first sort of really critically acclaimed film, which was called Drunktown's Finest, and it's about reservation life. It's a drama about reservation life in a Native American reservation, and it's really good. And I think that it's really awesome that she's not only making films. I watched a documentary about her where she basically talked about how she grew up not seeing any positive, like any nuanced representations of Native Americans, and that's really what she wants to do in her filmmaking, which I think is really great. She's awesome. Who we got next?
Todd Haynes, John Waters, Andrew Haque, Nicholas Heitner, Stephen Daldry. Basically, these are the names that we like them. I don't really feel like elaborating on them right now because we're running out of time. Robin Campillo and also Francis Lee. Just check those guys out. They're pretty cool. Celine Sciamma, she's a French lesbian director whose her most recent film, Portrait of a Lady on Fire,
the best film of the year.
Oh my god, I've been so lucky to see it, to have seen it twice now. Mary has seen it once, and yeah, it's just such.
It's the most beautiful.
Oh, when more people have seen it, like we should talk
Xavier
about it.
Dolan has even sung, like
I know. I love it. After Cannes, like Xavier Dolan, after seeing that movie, he wrote like a whole like friggin' 500-word paragraph on how great the movie is and how there's no men.
There's no men in this movie. It's all about the connections between the women, both as friendships and as romances, and it's just so beautiful as well in the way it's filmed.
Yeah, and
stunning.
I know. It's beautiful, and so is Noémie Merlant, and it's great. Sciamma, she made Water Lilies, she made Tomboy, she made Girlhood.
What a beautiful film.
I love that movie so much. So yeah, we stand.
We forgot Wanuri
Kayu. Oh my god, we forgot her. I'm so sorry.
So sorry, Wanuri Kayu. We didn't mean. We've got so many names on this list. Made one of the best, also probably made the best film of last year, which was Rafiki, which is a beautiful
Kenyan film.
Kenyan film about two lesbians. Are they both lesbians?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, about these two girls whose parents are like running against each other in local election, and they fall in love. And even it doesn't shy away from obviously the context of Kenya being a very homophobic country. Doesn't shy away from that, but it also manages to make this very uplifting, very wholesome movie that doesn't shy away from that nuance, like something.
Didn't she kind of like invent like a whole aesthetic movement?
She did. So This is very cool. I recently found this out when I was researching possible ideas for an essay for one of my courses. Wanuri invented, essentially, or rather spearheaded this whole cinema movement called Afro Bubblegum, which he started with Rafiki, and it's a movement to move depictions of Africa away from very depressing and very downtrodden depictions of Africa to very bright and very colourful and showcasing the culture a bit more. And Rafiki is very deliberately, when you watch Rafiki, it's so beautiful and colourful and bright. Like even the scenes that are quite sad are still very colourful and very bright and lovely to look at. And that's part of that movement called Afro Bubblegum, which she and a lot of other Kenyan and other African filmmakers have been.
That's great.
Which is awesome. Awesome.
She also made a short film called Pumzi, which is an amazing sci-fi.
I think you can find it on Vimeo. I think it's on Vimeo.
I know it's on YouTube as well.
And
so
YouTube.
Check that out.
Pumzi is awesome.
Like, it's most likely unlike anything you've ever seen, probably.
Beautiful speculative fiction piece about environmental as well. It's all about environmental speculative fic. Beautiful stuff. And of course, the last name we have on this list.
Oh, man.
Here we go. Last name we have on this list is Rupert Everett, who is a white man, but I still love him. He's done so much for me personally. When he produced and made the Saint Trinians films that were made in 2007, 2009. But he also most recently did his directorial debut.
Yeah, he did make a biopic about Oscar Wilde, and I say this as someone who doesn't really like Oscar Wilde. Like, it's a great movie, I think, and I think it doesn't shy away from all the reasons I hate Oscar Wilde as well. So I think it's very honest, and it's just it's a great movie.
It doesn't shy away from that.
No.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Oscar Wilde was very problematic as a person.
He was kind of an awful person.
He was a very awful person.
But Rupert Everett made Centurions, as
Rupert Everett made some of the most.
He produced Centurions.
He produced and starred in Saint Trinians, which is two of the most iconic films of all time.
Yeah.
For people who said to me after, I pretty much unfriended people who said to me after Ocean's 8 came out that there was never any female heist movies. Because the Saint Trinians 1 and 2 are both excellent heist films that even have multiple heists within the films. And also, they're all women. They pass the Bechdel test. Headmistress Fritton is an icon.
Yeah.
She's just great. We love her, and we love Rupert Everett, and I really hope that one day he will just make the third one. Just drop it. Just drop it. Just drop it. I'll watch it. I don't care. But those movies are so great. I very much adore them.
Yeah.
They were responsible for I'm pretty sure they were responsible for my gay awakening. Seeing that shot of Gemma Arterton in the first one when she's first introduced on screen, and she's just leaning against that door frame. I was like, wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
And her and the tension between her and Annabelle is
yeah, honorary gay cinema.
An honorary gay Saint Trinians.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anyone else? I think we've gone through I forgot to mention Tom Ford. Jamie Babbitt.
Tom Ford made Nocturnal Animals, right?
Yeah, and he made A Single Man, and he's that fashion designer dude. But I really like his films a lot. I wish he would be such a great filmmaker if he had something to actually say, because aesthetically his films are perfect.
Yes.
So, I think we've covered a lot.
We've covered a lot.
We've spoke about some topics that we want to expand on later on in GayV Club.
Sorry, one more. Even though this is a specific focus on filmmakers, I do want to make a brief mention to my boy, William Shakespeare.
Hell yeah.
Because all he did was write about bisexual disasters.
Fuck yeah.
And I respect that. And we will be doing a future episode eventually on all the queer subtext in Shakespeare. Because I don't believe that Shakespeare could write a straight character to save his life.
Yeah. So, thank you for listening to us ramble about people that we love. Hope this was educational.
And I hope that maybe you
should check out basically everyone that we've mentioned if you haven't seen the films before. Yeah, they're really excellent.
Wait. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
hold
just,
on.
sorry, I wanted to mention, we did mention Alia Shawkat briefly, but I did want to talk about, she wrote Duck Butter.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a really nice.
That was a film.
That was a very intense, but also kind of cathartic in a way.
Yeah.
Woola women
Yeah,
loving.
it's about bisexual women.
Yeah, bisexual women. And the thing I love most about this script is Alia said, like, the original script did have a man in it, and then, like, she had no chemistry, though, with the guy that they'd cast, and she basically, I forget the other girl's name in it.
She just switched it up with Leia Costa, who happened to be, like, visiting the set on that day.
And,
yeah.
Their chemistry is just...
It's
wow.
a great
intense
film.
It's a great, intense... It's sort of romantic, but also, like, it's kind of anti-romantic as well.
Yeah.
I did want to briefly mention Duck Butter.
Yeah.
I really like Duck Butter. All right. Sorry. We can do the outro.
Yeah. Okay, so... yeah, so I hope you enjoyed us rambling. Next episode's going to be... Yeah, we're going to do it on LGBT biopics.
Yes.
Yeah, so we want to look at biopic films from recent years that focus on LGBT historical figures, various ones, and we're kind of going to talk about why most of them suck. So thank you.
And how they cannot suck as well.
Yeah, and it'll touch on some of the concepts that we've mentioned earlier in this episode and previously. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Again, if you liked listening to us, please follow, subscribe, rate, leave nice reviews for our podcast GayV Club on wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram for updates. Both our usernames on those are at GayV Club. Mary
GayV_club.
Yeah, at GayV_club. Thank you. Mary is on most social media at AKA just Mary. Mary spelled MERRY. And I'm at Haque on Twitter, DEAHAQUE.
And yeah, go and watch some gay films and have a nice fortnight.
Yeah.
We will hear you next time. I don't know why I say that. They will hear us next time.
Yeah.
You will hear us next time.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Tell your friends about us.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.